Welcome to the I Hate Critics movie review podcast. I'm professional film critic Sean Patrick. With me is Jeff.
Hello,
Find
plebes.
us on various different social medias. Just search I Hate Critics. We're probably the only one, I would assume.
I
Uh,
hope so.
that is not our Reddit page, though. There is a Reddit page called I Hate Critics. That's not us. They just don't like critics over Reddit. Um, can't take credit for that. But talking about movies, I don't have much for news. I did see the new trailer for the Thunderbolts, which
Yeah, I saw that
surprised
today.
me. I was surprised by how good it is. The first trailer wasn't very good. It looked like every other Marvel movie, and this time they're like listing all of the various A24 movies that people have worked on.
Yeah, I saw
This
that. That
movie.
was
Like,
great.
oh, you know how to get to me, Marvel. All right, now you're speaking to me.
Like production designer from Hereditary, I was like, you had me at Florence Pugh, but okay.
The trailer looks good though, not just for the credits, but also just like the look of it was much more impressive than the other aspects of the marketing, like the commercial marketing and the first trailer weren't great, but this was pretty impressive, and it did kind of give you more of these characters, more of what they're up to, and I'm interested now. I'm a little more interested now,
Yeah.
much more willing to give it a chance than I was before, because before it looked like everything else, and I keep having these I keep rethinking about Captain America and just liking it less and less.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's meh.
Anthony Mackie's not doing himself any favors.
Oh God, what did you do now?
Well, he says, Jeff, that he, in his house, is raising masculine children.
Even
He's
the
raising
girls?
his boys to be masculine.
Oh, okay, just the boys. Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
Yeah. Which, if you don't know, I'm sure you know, that's just a homophobic dog whistle is what that is. Whether he intends it to be or not, that's what it's
Yeah.
always been. When somebody talks about that, they're basically trying to tell you, well, I won't let my kids be gay.
Yeah. I mean, there was a
And
little boy.
I'm not going to call him homophobic. I'm not calling Anthony Mackie homophobic. Maybe he's misunderstood. Maybe I don't understand what he's trying to say. But historically speaking, anytime anyone has ever said this, it's been a dog whistle.
Well, there was that case a few years ago in California, I think, where maybe I'm getting it wrong. Maybe it's not California, but there was a dad or a stepdad that kept saying that about his little boy who was probably going to grow up to be gay, and he ended up beating him to death. So that kind of talk can fuck right off.
Right. I totally agree. And like, how do you even try and guarantee that? What is it that you do that's going to what is the war on masculinity? Who, first of all, who's attacking masculinity? And then on top of that, what do you do to combat that? Like, what is the combat to this straw man figure of masculinity that's attacking masculinity?
Yeah. I to me, like a masculine guy, a truly masculine, person raising their children to be masculine means that they're not afraid of the LGBT community or people of different ethnicities or, you know, treat women well. That's the kind of masculinity I'm looking at, not this hyper masculine bullshit stuff that's not truly masculine. It's just abusive.
Like I said, maybe he's using this terminology strangely, but when he was asked to define what that meant, he started talking about things. Well, I teach my kids to my boys to open door, hold the door for a woman, and all this like politeness shit. And it's like, yeah, of course you do. Like, when it's just being polite. Like, what are you talking about? What does that have to do? What does politeness have to do with it?
Yeah, I mean,
Is that how you define him? Masculine is just, well, he's very polite.
like that's fine. I don't yeah, okay, politeness when, it's something like that, cool. Um yeah, I don't know. That's just stupid.
Every man defines masculinity in their own way.
Right.
You do, I do, anybody with a dick, anybody without a dick, rather. even if you're
Mhm.
somebody, a trans person defines their own masculinity their own way. No one gets to tell you or me or Anthony Mackie what masculine is.
Right.
Therefore, I don't see how there can be a war on it or an attack on it or a way to ensure that it's going to exist in a way that makes sense to you or that is your way of being masculine.
When people say stuff like that, I'm reminded of the Melon Husk who said that the biggest problem with the world today is that there's too much empathy,
Ugh, God,
and that I
trouble.
can't. God, who said a lack of empathy is one of the first signs of uh, dehumanization. I somewhere I've read that, and
American
yeah,
Psycho, I think it was
yeah,
Patrick Bate. He's quoting Patrick Bateman, I believe.
yes, yes, yes. And then somebody came back and said, one of the the hallmarks of uh the downfall of a society is the lack of empathy. And that really struck me because that's where we're at. It's not, um, like, be empathetic. That's kind of the most human thing you can be. That's what makes a human as opposed to just an animal.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, I mean, you've got to be a psychopath to not have empathy. Frankly, I mean, no,
yeah,
realistically, I mean that is the definition of a psychopath is not having empathy because then you're willing to, let people die or even kill people for that matter, uh, to gain whatever it is that you want from them. I mean, that's
yeah,
ridiculous. Uh, you know, if you can look at a kitten and then be okay kicking it, like you're not a good person. Like that's
exactly.
you can look at a child and be openly cruel towards it. You're not a good person. Like,
Exactly.
and that's what's happening right now with they're doing it from behind a keyboard, which makes them real tough. Makes it
Hmm.
real tough. They're not having to go to he doesn't have to go to a nonprofit and walk in and see the people who are being served there and the people who are serving them and look them in the eye and go, I'm taking away all your money. He doesn't have to do that. So he can be
Right.
a big, tough man anywhere he wants to be in the world because he doesn't have the balls. He doesn't have the guts. He doesn't have the fucking spine to walk into one of those places and actually look at the people he's affecting.
Uh huh. And if it, I want to read what Anthony Mackie said, because if he's talking about lacking empathy and just being polite and whatever, then I'm going to have a big problem.
He
If
didn't
he's
say
just
anything about
saying,
lacking empathy. He didn't say that. He said he was raising his kids to be nice to everyone. But
yeah,
again, that's not, I don't see again why that would be a specifically masculine trait.
yeah, it seems kind of antithetical to how we define polite. So
But yeah, he said, I'm raising my kids to be masculine or my boys to be masculine, whatever the fuck that's supposed to mean.
yeah. Well, I encourage everybody to read up on that, and I'm going to do the same because of the fact that I'm trying not to take anything at face value anymore because
Sure.
social media has ruined people's lives.
I really
Um,
I don't want it to be a thing, but at the same time, I read it and that's how I took it.
Gotcha. Let me call him up really quick and ask him.
Yeah, get Captain America on the phone. Let's see what he was talking
I'll call Harrison Ford and have him call Anthony Mackie.
about. Harrison Ford. That's the most masculine man alive. You want it? You want to see it?
Yeah, when I think masculine, actually, that's a good barometer of masculine to me as
Sure.
Harrison Ford because he's
Mark Hamill on Twitter.
yeah.
Absolutely. There's a
I don't know.
masculine.
I
Absolutely.
I haven't been on Twitter in a while, so
Or Blue Sky, wherever he is on social media. Mark Hamill's a great example.
yes. So, did you see any movies this week?
I saw a few. I saw
Oh,
all the ones on our list. So let's start with the one I just saw. Black Bag is directed by Steven Soderbergh and stars Michael Fassbender and Cate Blanchett as, I guess they're probably MI6. I guess that's England's, they don't really say it, but it's England spies, essentially.
yeah.
Spies, high level clearance types. They're married and there's a spy or a mole within their department, and they've got to weed him out through a series of chess moves put together mostly by Fassbender, who we spend most of the time with. And I gotta say, I've Fassbender's hit and miss, like really hit and miss for me. He's missed a lot in his career.
Snowman.
Snowman comes to mind. The video game movie that he did, Assassin's Creed, not good. I think this is one of the best performances of his career.
Yeah.
I think he's incredible here. He's working so much with just his eyes and this stone face. He is absolutely exceptional. There's a couple of scenes that are set around this dinner table at their home where he's invited everybody who's a suspect, and it's better than any of the Poirot movies. Like it's just watching him with that little buzz on his temple, that little thing that you can see kind of moving, but just his eyes, just constantly reading everybody in the room. And he doesn't say much. He doesn't have much to say. He's just observing. And then when he says it, everything he says has an impact. Everything he says it is an impact. And that is exciting to watch. And then Cate Blanchett is so snaky and gorgeous and sexy and exciting. And you don't know where she stands, and then you do. And it's great. This is a great movie. Soderbergh does not miss with this and Presence. Like he's just absolutely killing it.
Yeah, this has been a really good year for him. I mean, I loved Presence. I loved this movie. I didn't think I would. Like I told you last week, this movie is not, spy thrillers are not my thing necessarily, but damn if I didn't love this movie. It was like everybody in this movie was just perfectly cast. It looks, it was just, everybody was perfectly cast. Everybody was perfect in their performance. Naomi Harris, who I absolutely love. I didn't even know she was in it. I went into this movie as blind as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I saw one trailer for it a couple months ago, but yeah, just really, really good from top to bottom.
Yeah, Marissa Abella, Tom Berk, Reggie Jean Page, all in this movie, all are just incredible. Pierce Brosnan is great in his role here as well. The thing about it is that I've seen a lot of spy thrillers. There are plenty of spy thrillers out there. This is in terms of the plot, you've seen something similar to this before. But what Soderbergh does so much better, what great directors are capable of doing, is taking material that is familiar and improving it with style, with just their approach. His approach is so elegant and so simple. Just giving his actors room to do what they do, giving them time and space to set themselves up. Like I think one of the MVPs of the movie is Marissa Abella. Her character Clarissa is such a character because you can't really read her. She's kind of a wild card. She doesn't really know what's going on, but maybe she does. She's all over the place, and she's just such a great distraction. And at the complete opposite energy of what Fassbender is doing, that it's become very exciting. But everybody in this movie is just so fucking good. I mean, he just nailed this. He did.
Yeah, I'm like you. He is very kind of hit or miss for me. So seeing him underact for a change was nice. Because usually, like sometimes he just lays it the fuck on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, okay. Like Marissa Abella, I did not see her in the Amy Winehouse movie. I missed it that week. And I was just like, who is this? She's just great. And the way, she plays off of him so well that I was so hoping it was not her that was the spy.
Yeah.
The whole time I'm like, oh, I don't want anything to happen to her. And she was just so good in it. So, and Cate Blanchett as usual.
Oh my God. Just floating above everything in the movie. She's rarely in the muck of the plot. She's just floating over the top of it and does exactly what she needs to do. She's just phenomenal. Yeah, the cast, again, the way this is cast is so clever because Cate Blanchett is a lead, but she's not always there. She's not always on screen. We're spending a lot of time with Fassbender, who doesn't say a lot, but is doing everything. And you buy it just because of his manner, his approach. And again, those eyes, just you can see the wheels turning so hard on this guy. It's great.
Yeah, yeah. Just I really enjoyed this, and I wasn't sure I was going to.
Now, it's just elegant, it's stylish, it's surprising, and just highly entertaining. Black Bag is terrific.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get to another movie this weekend, Novocaine, starring Jack Quaid, and Amber Midthunder, tells the story of a guy who cannot feel pain. It's a long-term condition he's had since birth. He just does not feel pain, which can be an advantage in some ways, but also we find out it can be a grave disadvantage because he doesn't know when he has an injury of any kind, and that could actually get him killed. Which is kind of great. It's kind of interesting. It's a limitation you wouldn't think, in this what appears to be, almost a superhero notion of not being able to feel pain. The movie is very clever in setting that up. It's clever in executing. I just wish it moved a little quicker, Jeff.
Yeah, I read your review actually before I saw it because again, this is one of those movies that if it wasn't for the show, I would not have seen it until it went to streaming because it's just not my, some action movies I connect with on a visceral level on the trailer. And this one I didn't. And I think it's, I don't know. There's something about Jack Quaid. He's charming and I don't want to hold his dad against him. So I try to hold his mom up for him.
Right?
But what's so weird is I don't see either one of them in him. Do you know what I don't I look at him and I'm like, if his last name was Williams, I wouldn't know that it was their child.
I could kind of see his mom's lopsided smile in this one a little bit. A little bit.
But I think it was Scream because it was the same thing as Mikey Madison. She and I said this before, she kind of plays the same character, and that's Honora was very similar to Amber in Scream, very similar to Sadie in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So I'm looking forward to seeing if she can do something different. I think that Jack Quaid's thing is that goofy kind of charm, and I would like to see him do something really dark just to see if it is any different than what he has been doing, because he does kind of have that goofiness, that lopsided smile kind of thing, like you said, and I want to see if he can do more than that, I guess. So I did enjoy it.
I like the difference between. I thought there was a good, solid difference between what he did in Companion, which I do consider kind of dark, and this movie. I liked. I don't know if I've seen him play a very heroic character before, and he is nothing but a goofball hero in this one. He's
forgot about Novacaine or Companion.
He's on a quest to save his girlfriend, or not a girl, kind of girlfriend, Amber Midthunder, who gets kidnapped during a bank robbery. He's the assistant bank manager. She's a bank teller, and he's going to use his ability to not feel pain, to try and help him get her back from the people who took her. There are a few twists and turns that he doesn't know about. So we'll see Ray Nicholson, Jack's son, pop up, and very Jack in this movie is Ray.
Oh yeah.
It kind of made me want to see him play Joker, honestly.
What's weird about Ray Nicholson is I saw him growing up, paparazzi photos and whatever, and he was always kind of chunky. And then I saw him in Smile too, and I didn't recognize him because he had thinned out so much. But the way his hair was cut in this movie, I was like, oh, I see the little chunky 13-year-old again. It's that square head kind of thing. I did think it was kind of funny that I know that Dennis Quaid was up for at one point was up for Batman before Michael Keaton got it, and if he had gotten it, we would have seen a return to Nicholson Quaid fighting, and I thought that would have been cool. But I did stop when their last fight. I kept going. That's the son of Jack Nicholson beating the shit out of the son of Dennis Quaid. That's some sort of poetic rhyme or something somewhere.
I was a little tired by the last fight scene, and that's the
Yeah,
thing. This kind of premise, I don't think can sustain 110 minutes. I think they needed a tight 90 for
yeah,
this because
definitely.
as much as he can't feel pain, he's still getting injured. He's still bleeding a lot. He's still like he's got injuries that are going to have an effect on him mentally, if not physically. And so as it's going on, and they're kind of dragging it out a little bit, especially like I think it ends at least three different times. I'm like, probably could have moved this along a little bit.
Yeah. See, one of so I was glad to see at the end that he was in traction,
Mhm.
that he wasn't just like jumping up and down around. I he it was also be cool because he just probably saved about 300 grand on anesthesia for all the surgeries and stuff. I mean, seriously, I can't feel pain. Just go ahead and do whatever. I can't feel it. Would be great. Um, I would have liked one less ending
Mhm.
because it did go on too long. Um, I I feel like we could have done without the last ending where they're together. I would have liked to see her kind of do a darker turn, and it had all been her idea. Um, because that way they wouldn't, they wouldn't end up together. And I was kind of like, all of this stuff, and you're still ending up together. It kind of rang hollow for me. So
Mhm.
that was,
I didn't mind that. I did mind the pacing though. I thought they could have picked up the pace. There's a sequence where he goes to a house that is booby trapped, and
mhm.
that's kind of funny. Like there's a couple of funny things in that, but that idea
Went
probably
on
could have
so long.
you could probably have gotten rid of. You could probably or move it to a earlier portion of the film
Mhm.
where and cut something else.
He didn't
I,
need to go to the tattoo parlor at all.
yeah, that one was needless.
He could have found this information in the car, like
Yeah.
how to get to this house, and they could cut that, and then the movie would have been just about perfect.
Yeah, that we could have done without that. There are things that could have been cut to make this a little bit tighter, and it would have been a better movie. But overall, it's certainly not bad. I do like this
No,
movie. I do recommend this movie because I did enjoy it. But and I especially enjoyed Jack Quaid. I just thought he was terrific in this.
yeah, I did. I liked Amber Midthunder too. I thought she was pretty appealing, and I was surprised to see her in our next movie. So I was like, okay,
Hmm.
she has presence. I she was given more to do in this one than in Opus, but she took it. The only thing I wish I would have liked to have seen her be the ultimate bad guy, because that I feel like she could probably pull it off. And um, Ray Nicholson, because he carries that baggage of who his father is and how his father, is crazy in movies and plays that so well. I think there's always going to be that part to whenever he acts like he did in this movie. Um, so it would have been refreshing to kind of to see her do all that. And then I probably wouldn't have minded them getting together. I don't know. It would have been so.
No, we both like it. We both recommend it. It could be better.
Yes.
Speaking of could be better, Opus this weekend is from A24, written and directed by Mark Anthony Green, and stars Io Ida Berry as Ariel Acton, a journalist who is trying to establish herself in her career. She works for a magazine where her mentor is Stan, played by Murray Bartlett, and she's going to get her chance at a big story because a legendary pop star by the name of Alfred Moretti is making a comeback. He's described as part David Bowie and part Madonna. And he hasn't made a record in 30 years. And he's putting out a record now, and he's invited a group of influencers to come to his compound and hear the record before anybody else. So that includes Ariel, it includes her boss Stan, it includes a influencer named Emily. We've got a photographer named Bianca, and Juliette Lewis is a talk show host named Clara. There's also a podcaster named Bill. He's not going to be around very long. Um, you
can we also say that
so we don't know who
Means was in it? And I have a huge crush on him.
So they arrive at the compound, and it turns out to be a cult. And this is what's described, or has been described by some, as part of a new genre of movie. Some people have called that A24 core. Others have called it, I called it the vibes movie, where the movie establishes a sort of off-kilter vibe, and that's basically the driver of the movie as opposed to the story. And that can be good and bad. But I just don't think this one quite has enough story to establish and stay with the vibe. It establishes the vibe very well. Like, it's very off kilter. It looks great. There's a lot of little Easter eggs for you to pick up. It's a little disorienting in a good way. There's a great scene where they're listening to the record, and the camera is moving around, and they're like, and it's very weird and off-putting. Feels like a scene from Midsummer a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciated that. I think Malkovich is quite good, but overall, I just didn't think that this movie had enough, and I especially just did not buy into the ending, which seemed to be setting up a sequel that I guarantee you is not going to happen.
Oh, I had a private screening of this today.
Oh, did you?
I was the only person in the theater, which I actually liked this movie, and I liked what it had to say, and I didn't see it as a sequel. I just thought, it was kind of a twist ending that I picked up, about 10 minutes before the end. But I liked what it had to say about cults and how, creativity and stuff like that. I did. John Malkovich was pitch perfect in this to me. When he's in that gold jacket and he's singing to everybody and grinding on the women and the men, and it just was like, this is wacky as fuck, and I loved every minute of that part. I do feel there were a little bit of a tone issue. Like everybody said that about the monkey, and I went with the monkey just because I wanted to, I think. But the tone, yeah. The tone of this was a little uneven.
Mm-hmm.
Like it at times I was like, oh, this wants to be a super dark comedy. And then I was like, no, it's just kind of a talking about how fucked up cult people are. And, I thought maybe it was a treatise on what's going on in politics, or is it just showing how cults can like take hold. I did like that, like I got the twist. I knew that was going to happen because they said they didn't find any bodies. And I was like, oh, okay. So the cyanide was a red herring, and we are doing this. And so when he was going through that, I don't see it as a sequelized movie. I don't think there's any reason for it to be.
The reason I see it as a potential idea for a sequel is because that's way more intriguing than anything that happens in the movie. Because the movie doesn't have a real plot to it. Like, nobody is achieving anything. I guess he's achieving something kind of in the background, but it's happening in the background, and it gets there at the end. And it's like, okay. But I'm way more interested to find out what happens now as opposed to anything that you've set up to this point.
Well, I kept thinking, throughout it, I was like, oh, this is so, like, they're so fucked up. So what's gonna, and I was hoping for a reveal. I did get a lot of like Blink Twice vibes from it.
Mm-hmm.
When you're talking about vibes, that's kind of where I was getting the vibes, was Blink Twice. They're in a compound, kind of away from everybody. Everybody's in on it. Yeah, I was just that's kind of where I was with it. But again, I really did enjoy it. It did make me think after. Um, yeah, I was more with it than I think you were. So
I think Mark Anthony Green's an incredibly talented director and writer. I think he's got a great future ahead of him. I think I like what he's trying to do here. I don't think he's getting there. I don't think he's achieving it. Especially, I don't think the ending works. Like I said, I think it's far more intriguing. And the implication is more intriguing than anything we see setting up the implication.
yeah,
Um, Especially like the characters that he invited there, like we kind of get only a vague idea of why he's invited him, and really like the whole thing hinges on Io Barry's character like doing everything that she does. And it's like not everybody's that, like that's kind of a precarious thing to hang this entire plot on, if indeed that is what the plot is. You're kind of relying on something that might not work, I guess.
yeah,
um I don't know. I didn't buy into that. I didn't mind her performance, but that's again not something we've seen. Something like we always seem to see something like that where something's fucked up and only one person can see it, and everybody else is like, yeah, whatever. This is weird, but why are you being a weird about it? The Vibes movie is just a feel, like it's a movie that maybe has a plot, but it's not as important as establishing sort of disorienting the audience with
yeah,
camera movement, with scenes where you're not quite sure where you're located, playing with the geography of a particular scene. Like they do that incredibly well in the scene where they're listening to the record for the first time, and that moving camera and the set where this is, I don't know if it's a barn or a cave or whatever the fuck it was. It has a roof, but you can't see it. It's just darkness up there, and then the camera is just gliding gently, and the music is incredible. Nile Rodgers, of course, and Dream doing the music, and they did an amazing job. I mean, it sounded like the kind of thing a 60-year-old pop star would come up with in this day and age. I appreciated that. So I bought in on that. I wanted the ending of this movie to have the audacity that scene has, and it just didn't. It just didn't for me.
what would what would have done it for you then for an
I'm not
ending?
sure. I really don't know. But it certainly this was where that scene is like just completely audacious and kind of like wow, that's really amazing. Everything after that felt like, all right, I guess this is. Are we gonna get somewhere eventually? Like, and she's looking out the window, waiting for the bus to get there. Like, the bus isn't coming. I mean, we know that. We just get
Yeah,
through the. Yeah. So everything else felt like a sigh. Like it coming down from that scene, it just felt like, all right, well, let's get this over with.
well,
And I wanted it to fall and then rise again with that level of audaciousness, and it doesn't. It just doesn't.
yeah, I enjoyed it. Don't listen to Sean. Go watch it.
Go watch it and decide for yourself how you feel. That's what I always.
Yes, yes,
I didn't like it, but you did, and I'm happy for you.
I did.
Now we will throw things back to you to describe our classic this week.
This week we are talking about Party Girl, which just celebrated its 30th anniversary in the festival circuit. It stars Parker Posey as Mary, a young woman who does parties. She's trying to make some money. She's kind of she doesn't really do much other than party. And then she gets arrested at the beginning of the movie and has to work off her bail money from her godmother, Judy Lindendorf, um, played by the director's mother, Sasha Sherler. She then goes to work in the library where Judy is the head librarian and meets a falafel vendor and has all these fabulous, weird friends. Along the way, she kind of finds out what she wants to do with her life while saying some of the catchphrases that I have been saying literally for the last 30 years. And
I've been aware of this movie for a very long time. I bought the DVD of this back one of my first DVD purchases when I was working at a video store, uh, movie gallery. Yeah, I was working at a movie gallery about 2000, and I picked up this movie. Always had a huge crush on Parker Posey
she's the
from her
best.
TV work and Dazed and Confused, and just wanted her to tell me what to do.
Well, I have a story about Parker Posey if you want to hear it.
Oh, please, please.
So Pride weekend, this is probably 2012, I think. Um, she hit me with her umbrella 3 different times in one day.
Oh. Intentionally?
Well, no, yes. So it was Pride weekend. My friends were all like out of town or doing whatever, and I was going to meet my boyfriend Martin. But I was waiting for him because he lived in Harlem and he had to come down, and he didn't want to go to the Lady Gaga opening ceremony thing. So I'm kind of walking up and down Christopher Street, and I see her and her friend. I'm not paying any attention to who it is. If I'd known, I probably would have run up to her and been a weird super fan kind of person. But I was walking by and I heard the voice, and I kind of realized it was her. And then she and her friend turned. They were going the opposite way. And she hit me with her umbrella, and she goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." I'm like, I said, "I'm fine, Parker Posey." And she just laughed, and her friend goes, you know. So then a little while later, I was walking east on Christopher Street, and then Martin was like, "Hey, I'm going to take the train and I'm going to get off and let's go to Rock Bar." Okay. So I got to go west. So walking down Christopher Street, going to Rock Bar, and she's coming the opposite way. And I was like, "Oh, watch out. Don't hit me. Oh, don't hit me. Don't hit me." And she laughed, and she kind of just like swatted me with a little bit. And
Yeah.
she goes, "Are you having a good night? Are you just walking up and down the street?" I said, "No, I'm waiting for my boyfriend." She's like, "Oh, blah, blah, blah. Where are you guys going?" I said, "Well, right now we're going to Rock Bar. Then we'll probably go to the Stonewall because it is Pride weekend." She goes, "Oh my God, that sounds so much fun." So I said, "Well, probably about a half an hour we'll be at Stonewall." So she ended up at Stonewall and bought us drinks.
Wow.
And then her friend was like, "Oh, I gotta go. This is like, we spent maybe about 45 minutes. Her friend was like, "I gotta go." She goes, "Yeah, I should go too." And then she goes to pick up her umbrella, which she has against the wall, and clocks me right in the side of the head with it because she picked it up too fast. Sometimes you just,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Parker Posey." And she went, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God," like that. It was pretty funny. So I got a hug out of her, and she was super nice about it. And
That's very cool. That's probably the coolest story ever told on this show, honestly.
I honestly did not want to like fawn over her because of this and Scream 3,
Yeah.
because those are 2 of my favorite performances by her. So
Yeah, no, I adore this movie. This movie is just even in 1995, it felt fresh. It still feels fresh today, with its approach to this character and its approach to the library of all places. Like I just love that is such a part of this, and her finding herself, and we've seen something like this before. Like a stunted person learns the value of themselves and finds their calling and whatnot. We've seen that before, but we've not seen Parker Posey do it the way she does it here.
yeah.
With so much wit, so much presence. She's just so alive in this role. And just, she's effortlessly sexy and charismatic. Like she's just so much fun to watch.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I like when I said that this is a movie that has catchphrases that I've been saying for 30 years. My friend, every like Friday, he just messages me, "Natasha," and I message him back, "Hello." And it's never seemed stale. Like there's all sorts of old stuff that we used to quote that you don't really quote anymore. But this movie is still it's like it's still on the cusp. It's the 90s and it's all, so it's all coming back and all that, but it's also it's kind of timeless in that the fashions are from like 70s, 80s, 90s, some vintage, etc. And the music is always sounds fresh. Um her matter of factness, where she just does not understand what she's doing to other people until the end, and she's like, I'm gonna be a goddamn librarian, and you're like, yay, she wants to be a librarian. I did have some friends when I lived in Des Moines, Iowa, that were librarians and had gone to school. Like, she says you have to do,
Yeah, library
you have to have a
science is
mass.
a real
Yeah.
thing.
And the love that they have for this movie is something else.
No,
Um,
I'm sure the sexy librarian trope has been around for years, but I guarantee
mhm.
you this is like the spike on the map of that terminology and that fantasy and that fetish, especially the fetish.
Now, one of the things what really gets me in this movie is that every character is like an actual person and has real stakes in their life. Judy is going through menopause and she's never kind of gotten over the fact that this girl was made her goddaughter by an irresponsible woman. And it does take the entirety of the movie for her to say, oh, you're right, you're not like your mother. um
Mhm.
Mustafa, he's got a backstory. And um what's her face? Oh god, I just Renee Donna Mitchell. She's got that whole alcoholic thing that's played for laughs,
Yep.
but she's just really, she's very good at it, and she's a presence that I appreciate in the movie. Guillermo Diaz, Liev Schreiber. You pissed in my shower? You lower my worth, Nigel. What's that supposed to mean, Mary? Does this mean we're not getting married? I just,
Yeah, if you think main character syndrome is something that was invented recently, you're wrong because you've not seen the movie clearly.
yes, yes. And I love that Parker Posey is getting her, her accolades for the White Lotus, but I'm just like, oh, sweetie, you have so much back catalog to go through to see how great she is. Um, and her presence in this movie is kind of like sets the template for not quite the manic pixie dream girl, but that kind of the a little like a little more manic and a little less pixie, I guess.
Well, she's not the kind of woman who's there to improve somebody else's life. Like
Yes.
she's kind of like the one who needs somebody to come into her life and improve things.
Yes.
But I don't really think you could improve things for her. She's a fully formed human being.
Yeah. Well, and when she gets it, when you see that the sequence in the library where she's getting it,
Mhm.
that's one of my favorite parts of any movie of the 90s, because it's just so you're pulling for her at that point. You see what a fuck up she is.
Mhm.
She's, a thief. She's stealing Chanel jackets. She's, trying to sell her mother's clothing to just to, survive. But when she really gets the whole librarian thing and she arranges Leo's records by the Dewey Decimal System, I love my ass off. I thought that was really funny.
I loved it. I loved it. And she's so great. And
Yeah.
she really just improves like anything that she's in. Like
Mhm.
even her little moments in Dazed and Confused are great.
Yeah.
I mean, I can go back through
Quaid
1,000
3.
different things, but there's like her casting. There was a movie she did not all that long ago, and I'm trying to find the title. Columbus.
Yeah.
It's directed by Takagawa or Tagawa. Konegawa. Thank you. Um, he's just it's just such a perfect movie. She just plays one tiny role for John Cho, and she's just amazing in giving him giving him the support that he needs for this, while also the movie is just so exceptionally directed. But her casting is so, even though she's not on screen a lot, her casting is essential, and she's making it feel essential.
Mm-hmm. Watching this makes me want to go back and watch Beau is Afraid again.
Oh my god,
because she's just so like, she's just, I just love her so much. I'm glad that everybody who's finally, who's watching The White Lotus finally gets it. Um, just because she's just so she's the forever it girl, and she's done so many like kind of quirky things that you know, but still is a star and still has. When she was in Scream 3, for instance, that's not a movie you think Parker Posey is ever going to do. That's just not, not something you would say, oh, she'd be perfect for a Scream movie. But she is the absolute perfect, pitch perfect performance in that movie of a bunch of weird fucking performances. She's really the one that like is the one that you wish that like her character hadn't died so that she could be in all of the subsequent ones. And maybe, I mean, they did kill off Hayden Panettiere and Scream 4, so maybe they'll bring her back. Who knows?
I mean, after what happened with Mason Gooding's character, you don't really die in this universe. So, I mean,
this is true. She could just look at the camera and go, hi, I'm Gail Weathers. I never die. And it would just be funny.
Yeah.
So.
One of the amazing things about her is that she does have like a very, like, especially after this movie and a couple other ones early in her career, she established a sort of this iconic presence that like this Parker Posey attitude, if you will, that was pervasive in the indies, after this movie. But what she's done is that she created that, and then she took that and repeatedly found ways to subvert it, like Best in Show or anything she did with Christopher Guest. She's like, her little moments in A Mighty Wind and Best in Show could not be funnier. She is so great. She's so fucking great.
Her braces in Best in Show are like a character by themselves. Did you see The House of Yes?
No, I didn't.
Oh, that one's fucked up. She plays Jackie O.
Wow.
Not Jackie Onassis, but she plays somebody who dresses as her a lot. So you got to see that. She's so like, I mean, there was the movie Henry Fool, and then she was so good in that they wrote a sequel around her character called Faye Grimm. Her in Josie and the Pussycats, I just watched that recently for the first time.
Yeah.
Oh, she's just like, it's stuff that she's kind of cast kind of against type for, that she makes it her type. And I really like that about her.
Yeah, she's never not memorable. She's never not. She doesn't. There's never going to be a moment where she doesn't stand out, and yet she's not pulling away from the other actors.
Yeah,
it's kind of like a lot of kind of very similar to what Aubrey Plaza was doing in her career as well.
God, could you see them playing sisters?
Oh my God, that would be amazing. I want to see that movie right now.
Right?
Yeah, this is a great movie. If you've never seen Party Girl, you must see it. It is totally awesome.
There's an incredible Blu-ray that came out last year. If you can't find it, it's worth the blind buy if you haven't seen it. It's just it's got so much really good stuff on it. It was shot on film, so the transfer is not as great as I wanted it to be in spots, but overall it's nice to see it on a non-bootleg, which is where I had to see it for the longest time. So
yeah, I'm actually gonna show it to I'm gonna surprise Amy and MJ on the 95 podcast and have them watch it this weekend.
Nice. Yeah, when make sure that when you put it in, you go hello, or just yell Natasha. But even like the way I like, she goes, I was talking about this, and I was like, all right, okay, that's how I say okay because of this movie. It's so ridiculous. So yeah, just see it, you'll understand about half of my personality.
All right. So yeah, really only one of the movies let me down this week, but you kind of liked it. Otherwise, we saw some really good movies this week.
Yeah, yeah.
And,
I'm happy with all three that I saw. So
and next week we'll be talking about Snow White. People are predicting disaster. Are you predicting disaster?
I've seen the trailer, so yes.
I have not seen the trailer. I've not seen anything for it. Honestly, I don't know why. Just maybe the kind of media I'm taking in, I'm just not getting it. But I've not seen much about it until I walked into the theater last week, and one of the managers said to me, like, apparently, like the two stars hate each other. They're on the opposite side of the uh,
Israel Palestine conflict.
Israel
Yeah.
Palestine thing. So that's kind of like, oh wow, I had no idea. This is going to be weird because they're on the
Yeah.
opposite side of this story for sure.
Oh, I just yeah, I'm not a I like Rachel Zegler quite a bit.
Mhm.
I think she's very talented. Gal Gadot, I have not seen her do anything different than she did in Wonder Woman. Um, so I'm just like not I I'm not looking forward to this one. I
Two other
also think,
movies. Oh, go
why
ahead.
couldn't they have actually cast little people instead of all the CGI bullshit?
Yeah. Two other movies. Weird casting. Robert De Niro and Robert De Niro in the Alto Knights mob movie, and Locked with Bill Skarsgård and Anthony Hopkins as a guy trapped in a car. Oh, and there's also a documentary that is apparently very controversial. The Oscar-winning documentary that's going to be playing around the country this weekend. So there are a lot of people apparently on the right wing who don't want you to see this for some reason. I don't know exactly like what's the big deal. It won an Oscar. I don't know why anybody would do that, but No Other Land is going to be playing, and it's actually playing here locally where we are. So I hope to get to it. I know you hope to get to it, but we'll see.
Gal Gadot hates this fucking movie, so you should go see it.
And we're going to see this instead of Snow White.
Oh, I wish. I wish. So yeah, I'm gonna definitely try to get down there and see that. We'll wait till Tuesday to see Snow White because it's discount day, and I don't want to pay money to see that movie. Uh, I'm sorry. It's just not something I'm particularly looking forward to. But there is a 2 p.m. showing of No Other Land on Friday that I probably will be the one I see since I have to be in bed by 7 o'clock for work all the time. So
All right, and we'll have to come up with a classic as well.
yeah, we'll think of something that's not the original Snow White. We'll see. So
Yeah, we'll see. All right, thanks, Jeff.
have a good night.